All right, so really the only person that'll miss practice today is Mo Claiborne, and it's for personal reasons. So it's not due to injury. Everybody else will practice. Look forward to the challenge of playing the Texans. We know they're a good football team, so we got to get ourselves ready, and we're going to go through the process of that and get ready again for play against a good football team and a great atmosphere here at Arrowhead. So that time's yours.
Andy, what makes a good deep passing game in your eyes? Kind of the way you've developed it over the years.
Completions. It's got to be worked timing-wise with the quarterbacks and the receivers, tight ends, running backs in some cases. So there's just there's a ton of timing and work that goes into that. So and then practicing it, having good players, good quarterbacks. So.
Coach, I know it works both ways, but when you're facing a team for the second time, I know you do it within the division, but does it get easier during your game plan meetings when you're talking with the players because everybody's so familiar because you've faced them before that you can get a little bit more done in that way?
Yeah, we have that part that's familiar. They're familiar with us, we're familiar with them. And so you dig in and you study. They do a variety of things on both sides of the football and special teams. So whatever route they're going to go with it, you got to make sure you study, and that's the part that takes the time, whether you know them or don't know them. You got to make sure that you have all the bases covered there.
Andy, with everything that occurred with Patrick in terms of injuries, and then the amount of injuries you had to certain skill position players, how fortunate is it to not only get the bye week, but that it appears that Patrick and all the skill position players are as healthy as you could want going into January?
Yeah, I mean, this time of the year, I think that's a good thing. You're right. I mean, it's a long season, 17 weeks into it, and it's good to have those guys out there and run around. So, I mean, that's a plus. I think Bill would probably tell you the same thing on the other side. Having his guys there is a plus. So, as much continuity as you can keep, you appreciate.
One thing we talked about is the speed the game picks up in the playoffs. What gives you the confidence that Nicole is ready for this amount of national spotlight in this type of game?
Yeah, well, first of all, he came from a major college, so he's used to playing in front of big crowds and at a high level. I'm not that worried about him in this atmosphere. Not this worry. I just want him to prep for the plays and making sure that he has that down, and then go play. So, and he's got enough guys around him that have been, either here or somewhere else, been in the playoffs. So he's got good people he can talk to.
Coach, you had mentioned the load management approach with LaShawn McCoy as the second half of the season progressed. How fresh is he now, and how much do you see his role increasing as we enter the playoffs?
Yeah, well, we've got three good backs that we can move in and out, so that we feel comfortable with, and our young kids come along good, and so between the three of them, all of them give you a different flavor. So we're good with all of them. I don't want to slight one over the other right now, but all three will most likely have a chance to contribute. So.
Eric Richards had some pretty good games against J.J. Watt in the past. What is it that's really helped him build into the reliability you've had there on the backside of the quarterback and his success against J.J.?
Well, they know each other first, right, from college. So before he transferred to Wisconsin, they were together, up in Michigan there. So they know each other. And there's a battle that goes on. I mean, because of that, that's a fun thing to watch. It's JJ's gotten a few, Eric's gotten a few, but it's a good battle, which it will be on Sunday. But there's that personal side of it too, where they know each other. That makes it even better. But I wouldn't say one's over the other. I think they both get after each other, and it's if you have eyes for the O&D line, that's a good one to watch.
Kind of like to follow up what DJ was talking about when you face a team a second time. I know it's the playoffs and nobody needs any motivation, right? Because you lose, you go home. But do you find that there's an advantage? If you've won, you're extra confident. If you've lost, you've got more motivation to prove that you're better. Is there an edge that comes one side or the other?
Yeah, I think you're in the playoffs, and I think all that you play, right? So you just get in and go, and when you're in the moment, you're not thinking all that. You're thinking of winning your one-on-one battle and how you're going to do that. And if you win it, you want to win it again. And if you get beat on it, then you're going to come back and figure it out and get busy to do it the right way.
Is there an edge for the guys who didn't get a chance to play?
I think they all would like to play because it's a good football team, so now they have an opportunity.
Coach, your record coming off buys is pretty incredible. What is your approach to preparing during the bye week that allows you to have that kind of success?
Yeah, I don't know that. I mean, I don't know necessarily what other people do. I always say I've got good coaches and good players, and I think that's probably it. I don't know why that's happened. It's one of those things, I think so.
Which might be presumably healthy. Does he factor right back in, or will that be something you guys work through throughout the week?
Yeah, we'll see how it goes during the week. Wiz did a nice job the last time he was in, so we're comfortable with either guy, obviously.
And in addition to just the experience mattering, having past playoff experience, what are some of the finer details that you notice that does factor in?
Yeah. Well, you understand that the game's faster, and it's hard to explain that, but there's a certain urgency that comes with it. Not that the guys aren't playing hard. That's not what it is. It's a step up, and every level you take in the playoffs, they're just that much faster. The game is.
Is that something that's difficult to coach and explain? Is something that you actually have to experience it and be on the field for to know it?
Yeah, but that doesn't mean you can't be successful at it, right? So you just have to know it and then take it to heart and then go about your work during the week that way. Yeah.
And you had so many coaches go on to be head coaches elsewhere. I'm curious, in your experience, what do they learn by going on the head coaching interviews? Like, what positives do they pick up from those experiences?
Yeah, so, they can learn a ton about other organizations, how they're run, and expectations there, So that either gives them another opportunity down the road or something that they can file away, for whether it's this year or the following year,
How many times have you had an assistant go on these interviews, maybe they don't get hired, but they come back and they communicate to you, I learned this, I can tweak my plan this way, I can...
Sure. Yeah, every time they have an opportunity to do it, they've learned. And, it's just whatever flavor that the ownership or general managers, whatever flavor they want. And so, they have a choice. They have this wide pool and they pick from, so.
My last question is, I'm sure you've addressed this over the course of the year, but how similar or dissimilar or whatever is the play calling mechanism now compared to past years when I was the beat guy under Nags and Doug? How similar is it? Yeah,
same basic thing. So, EB gets plays to the quarterback. He and I talk. We formulate in between series what we're going to call, and we go with it.
Andy, what tells you that Pat is maybe more prepared for playoff football than he was even last year?
Well, I think, Adam, it's just experience in general. Last year it was a whirlwind. You'd probably say coming in is really a rookie or a second-year guy that didn't play much his first year. So getting used to the speed, the defenses, all those things, the game, and then up in that when you get in the playoffs. Was one more thing. So that's where the experience, helps you a little bit.
A couple more. Since the last game against the Texans, did you ever get a clarification from the league on the non-pass interference call against Kelsey?
I did, yes.
Are you satisfied with that?
Well, listen, unless you're going to pay for me, I'm just going to kind of let that one go.
We talked a lot about experience and, these young quarterbacks and how they've gotten through experience. Can you think back to when you first coached in playoff games, how much more prepared you are coaching in these games, or how long did that kind of take you to get the feel for the speed? Because it's fast for coaches, too.
Yeah, well, you've got to be on your game. I mean, but that's the part you love, right? So the questions about the players or coaches, I mean, this is what we do, and we're fortunate to be in this position, and you love that opportunity. And it doesn't happen every year. So when you're there, it's the ultimate challenge, and let's go.
did you feel comfortable after a couple of games as a head coach in the playoffs, or when did you feel like, hey man, I understand this is where it is?
Yeah, listen, I mean, that was a long time ago, so I'm not sure. I don't know that. It's a good question. I just don't know the answer.
Coach, you talked a lot about the experience of someone like McCole Hardman in front of big crowds. What is it like for someone like Colin Saunders who didn't come from a big college and is getting ready to play in a big game like this?
Yeah, I think with his personality, if you know him, I don't think that's going to bother him. He is as upbeat a guy, and he's very smart, and he's a kind of that fun-loving guy that brings energy to a room, and that whole deal. So I don't think that's going to be a problem for him. I don't foresee that. He's not.
Coach, you saw the Texans come back from a pretty large deficit when you played them in Week 6 and then again against the Bills. How do you prepare your players going into a game where they're facing a team that has shown that kind of fight to the end mentality? Yeah,
you got to play 4 quarters of football. So you know that. You have to do it during the season, even more so during the game. You look at stats over the years and playoff games, the margin between the winning and losing is even more narrow than what it was during the season. So you've got to make sure that you're sharp on all your different situations that you come across, and your 2 minutes before all those things become prevalent, even more magnified than they are during the regular season.
Andy, you mentioned that last year was kind of a whirlwind for Pat, and a lot of things went right, and then this year is the ankle, the knee, and has talked about how he has to win games different ways. Can you kind of talk about the growth you saw in him, and how he had to get through this year, and kind of the self-scouting that he's kind of seems to really good at?
Yeah, I loved it, because the second year is a tough year for quarterbacks. Tough year. These guys, there's some great minds in the National Football League that are coaching the defensive side of the ball. So they have a whole year off season to study it, and they're going to come back with their absolute best against you. And he answered it, and he did it through some adversity, like you're saying, with injuries or players that weren't playing, whatever it might be. And he didn't flinch. He kept the same attitude, the same work ethic, and he went after it. And he had a major injury that he pushed through, where the coaches and the trainers and the doctors all had to back him off. And so that mindset is important in this day and age of football. It's an important thing to have, especially in a leadership position.
Last one, Coach, last year we saw Travarius Ward develop a lot of confidence, just the way that he played in the postseason there, and then this year kind of build upon that. Just for a quieter guy that he is, just for him to build that confidence, how important is that at that position going into the playoffs and some of the guys he's going to face this?
Yeah, he's a smart kid. He is quiet, but he's a smart kid, and I felt like it was just a matter of him. More reps he got, the more things he saw from these defenses. He's a bigger kid too, so he has to play it a little different way than the smaller, ultimate quick twitch guy. I mean, he's a little bit longer than that, and like some of the corners in this league. So they just have to play it a little different and be able to read and see things and react to that. And I think that's where he's gotten better.
All right, thank you.
Okay.